What's up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here with the 2 minute drill, man. I am so excited to be here, man. It is Friday. The weekend is almost here. This is the last 2 minute drill this week, man. But we're back Monday and we start our Big Ten in 31 days for the month of March, man. I am so pumped for it. We already got some big interviews lined up with some amazing guests. So, y'all make sure to go ahead and subscribe and do all that stuff for the YouTube channel that I'm going to plug later anyway. We only got one topic here today, but it's a big one. And I've been covering the transfer portal a lot just because that's the biggest news in college football right now. And I'm going to cover one school in particular that has been dominating the transfer portal and getting major talent from the transfer portal that I'm so impressed with. And that is the Miami Hurricanes, man. Domination of the transfer portal this offseason. And I expect the transfer portal to become more and more active each season. I expect that moving forward is going to become a major staple in college football if you already don't think it is now. And no team had more success than the Miami Hurricanes, who have landed some huge impact transfers in the portal. Let's even go back to last year, man. And then quarterback Tyrique King out of Houston, starting quarterback last year, really improved the potential of this team, decided to come back this year, and they should be in competition for the ACC championship just because of him returning. Their O-line was dreadful the year before last in 2019. You get Isaiah Walker and Jared Williams, both big-time O-line transfers to shore up that O-line, which took a big step in improvement this year. And then the crown jewel of it all, Quincy Roche, D lineman out of Temple, former AAC Player of the Year, and this kid lived up to every bit of the hype. Went down to the Senior Bowl and will probably be another number in terms of the NFL draft success that this university has had. And let's look at what the Hurricanes needed. The biggest thing, man, a go-to target for the wide receiver spot. They relied way too much on Brevin Jordan. Mike Harley didn't explode till late midseason. They needed another guy to really bail out Tyrique King, and they needed someone to stretch the field. Harley did a great job this year, but they didn't have that true deep threat that could stretch the defense and open up running lanes. Because if you have that deep threat, they're going to be focused on they're going to have to play back, and there's going to be one less person in the box that's going to stop Tyrique King when he decides to take off with his feet. Huge need. And another big thing, I felt like they needed a lockdown, I guess, secondary defender. They got a 5-star this year out of the recruiting class out of Miami. But they also needed a lockdown corner to go with him that's versatile enough to play multiple positions in the secondary and help against these big-time quarterbacks. When you got to play Sam Howell, they had to play Trevor Lawrence this year. They'll have DJ next year. And then you look at Virginia Tech with Burmeister, who's going to be good. You have an amazing development down there in Georgia Tech in terms of that team. So you're going to have to play some talented offenses. So you're going to need that corner you can rely on to take their top target away and make them go elsewhere. And I felt like all this and more was answered in the portal this year in terms of experience, talent, and potential. Let's start with Charleston Rambo, Oklahoma wide receiver. And the Hurricanes, like I said, Brevin Jordan and really Mike Harley were the only two options. If you shut them down, that passing game was atrocious. Luckily, Harley decided to come back one more year, which is a huge win for the Hurricanes. But Charleston Rambo, in case you guys haven't heard of him, he's dynamic. He's an explosive deep ball guy who is able to stretch the defense and could open up those running lanes for King. I mean, you look at some of his highlights from Oklahoma. You see right here, I mean, Jalen Hurts just backs up and he is wide open. And just look at the physicality after the catch, man. Bodies a DB, has the athleticism to get away, and he can make plays at all levels of the field. And that's what the Hurricanes are getting in Charleston Rambo. And, I mean, if you need more proof, let's go ahead and look at this year against Florida, where he adjusts perfectly to the ball, gets both feet in, physical enough to hang on when the DB attacks him. This kid is an elite talent, and I am super excited to see his potential here. And he averaged over 15 yards per catch at Oklahoma in 3 years. He's on the smaller side, only 6'1", about 175. But as y'all saw right there, he makes up for it in athleticism and speed, and just he's much more physical. You saw it with Devontae Smith this year. He might not be the biggest guy, but you aren't going to body him around just because he's small, and he's going to outrun you and outwork you. And I think that's the type of thing we see with Charleston Rambo. He's not on Devontae Smith's level in terms of just pure talent, but this kid can do it all. I'm expecting Rambo to be a huge, huge target for the Hurricanes, and I think he could finally see his potential realized in this Miami offense. Like always, man, we got to give a grade to it. I say B. He hasn't who knows if he's going to live up to that full potential. He was one of my breakout potential players in the Big 12 this year. It didn't really work out due to COVID and some other things, but I'm giving it a B because of his potential. And it could be an A if he develops all the way, but for right now, he's going to be a solid target that's going to be able to get some big, deep balls. But can he be that every single down wide receiver? And can he do more with the intermediate to short game? Or is he going to be a boomer bust type wide receiver for the Hurricanes? And so that's what I'm looking for. But a solid B here for Charleston Rambo to Miami. And in terms of defense, man, these last two guys both on the defensive side of the ball, DeAndre Johnson, Tennessee linebacker / edge guy that he could step down and play. This Hurricanes defense experienced a huge revitalization, a huge jump in production last year, and now they're going to add a talented, experienced linebacker to that team. He might not be a star that the Henry Toto was or anything like that for Tennessee, but he's going to bring depth and add a little bit of production and a lot of experience. This kid's played in 32 games for the Volunteers, over 55 tackles, 15 and a half tackles for loss, 10 sacks, 5 forced fumbles. This kid, even though he might not be that star, like that one that's going to lead the defense, he's going to be able to contribute. He's going to be able to help some of these younger guys develop, which is what the Hurricanes need. And he's played at a high-level conference in the SEC against some of the best offenses in the country. And I'm expecting Johnson to play a huge role in just adding depth for the Hurricanes. And if he gives me 30, 40 tackles, 5 to 8 sacks, or 10 tackles for loss somewhere in there, then the Hurricanes got their worth and more. We're not looking for this dude to go and win the Benark Award or anything like that. We are just looking for him to be every week, every game contributor for the Hurricanes and give them another piece on that defense that they might not have had last year when they were a top 10 team in the country. Say which one about Alabama. Yes, they had Devontae Smith. Yes, they had Mac Jones, Najee Harris, but there were guys in there that you didn't talk about every week that made plays for that team, just 1-2 plays. You look at someone like Billingsley, the tight end, the young tight end they had. He wasn't a star, but when he was called on, he can get a first down here, get a first down there. And there might not have been an elite pass rusher for Bama, but when the play was needed, they were dudes who stepped up. And that's what I'm expecting DeAndre Johnson to do at Tennessee. And, I mean, as y'all see here, he can make plays. He can get around that edge. He can get to the quarterback. He had 5.5 sacks this year. And I think he's really has the potential to make use of his 5th year and have a chance to be a practice squad guy, an undrafted free agent, something like that in the NFL. For a grade, though, due to the lack of star potential, man, I'm going to give this a C+. You got depth. You got some experience. This kid's not going to be a team-changing addition. He's not going to lead this team to the playoffs now, but he adds some depth that will get you through the season in case some dudes go down. We're still dealing with COVID. The injury bug always seems to strike randomly, so he adds much-needed depth to that linebacker room. And with not with Travis Williams, with Manny Diaz and that staff, they love to have more than you need. You can never have too much talent in a position room. This kid adds exactly what they need. So C+ now. It could be higher depending on how he develops for his 5th year. But like we heard Josh Pate say when he was on the podcast, a lot of these guys are at their athletic potential, like they're at their athletic ceiling. Just because you add a 5th-year guy doesn't mean he's going to go from just a small contributor to winning the Heisman Trophy. You can tell who has that talent and who doesn't. And so this kid is going to add depth. He's going to be a solid starter, but probably no more than that. And then finally, man, one of my favorite transfers, I think it's an underrated transfer, is Tyrique Stevenson, Georgia defensive back, heading back down to South Florida. And the Hurricanes really didn't have that elite shutdown guy on the back end of the defense. But Stevenson, I think, has the potential to be that guy for the Hurricanes. He's probably, outside of maybe, the five-star true freshman they have coming in, should be the best DB on the Hurricanes roster this season. And he played all around the defensive backfield for the Bulldogs this year. And he made major strides in his performance from his freshman to sophomore year. And, he did allow a good bit of catches at 36, but he only allowed one touchdown through the air all year against tilting coverage. Plus, he already has 5 pass breakups this year. Gives him 10 for his career, and he held his own against some really talented quarterbacks that they faced this year. He faced Mac Jones. I mean, he faced Kyle Trask. I mean, he's faced some of the best of the best. So I'm not putting anything past this kid. And he's a playmaker, man. Has excellent ball skills. He can make things happen if he gets in the open field. He returned punts a little bit for the Bulldogs this year. He did in high school. He's a big kid, man, muscular. He's built like a brick wall, which makes him hard to deal with, especially going up against, some of the lankier, small wide receivers. He can bully some of these guys, and he is very, very physical at the line of scrimmage. He can be physical in coverage. It also helps him be a factor in terms of run stopping and getting, stops at the line of scrimmage if needed. And that's why I think he can play safety, is because he's so big and athletic. If he can turn these ball instincts that we've seen, these ball skills into INTs, return some of them deep into the opponent's territory, even for touchdowns, he has the potential to be one of the best DBs in the ACC. It's just he hasn't turned those pass breakups, those good decisions that where he knows when he figures out where the ball's going, he just gets a pass breakup. If he can turn those into big turnovers, you're talking about Miami having a huge shutdown guy on the back end of the defense that they really haven't had in a long time. In terms of grade, man, I try not to be, what can I say? I try not to be too gracious with these grades, but it's really hard because I can see the potential in a lot of these players. I'm giving it an A-. It's not an A+, it's not an A++, an A- because I think he's a solid starter who's going to start for 3 or more years. He has all-American, all-ACC potential. So anytime you get that out of the transfer portal, that's an A. The reason I say minus is because he did allow a lot of catches, and you never know what happens in terms of scheme fit and things like that. So everything could go right, and he could be an A guy. He could be an all-ACC guy, potential first-round NFL draft pick, because Georgia DBs, if you get recruited by Georgia, you can ball. Or he could fall victim to, just being not ready for the moment, doesn't fit in the scheme, and then we have, a C, D type of transfer thing where they don't get anything out of him. He's just a backup guy that adds depth, and he never lives up to what I think Tyrique Stevenson could be. So, guys, this is the domination of Miami in the transfer portal. I wanted to cover this because we've been covering a lot of transfers. They had so many guys to talk about. And so instead of spreading Miami transfers over like 3-4 episodes, we just wanted to cover them all here. But that's a wrap on the 2-minute drill for February 26th. Y'all know where to find us on YouTube, the Bluebloods CFB podcast, the Bluebloods. Type in either, you can find us. Instagram at the _Bluebloods, Twitter at the __ Bluebloods, and Facebook at the Bluebloods Pod. Been scrolling at the bottom all episode, man. So make sure to go follow us on everything. Make sure you're watching this on YouTube, man. We decided to make this an exclusive YouTube thing. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Turn on the notification bell on the top right of your screen. That way you are notified anytime we post the 2-minute drill, post an awesome interview with a guest, or just have college football content that you guys need to see, you guys want to see. I appreciate all y'all, man, hanging with me here on the 2-minute drill. But until next Monday, man, I'm out.